Who are you?
I'm the lost lead singer and tuba player for Venom.
You are Jello? By
Keep going.
Af.
Jello Biafra. Okay, let's keep...
You are Jello Biafra, and Jello, we're here in Seattle. You've just played with the Melvins, but a couple weeks ago, or maybe months ago, you were in Vancouver encoring with Ministry. What was that all about?
Oh, I just hopped on the Ministry bus because we wanted to do a little bit of the Lard songs and, thought I'd hop on, and I hadn't been to Vancouver in a while, and I hadn't sung anything in Vancouver, I guess, since I did Chew with No Means No ages ago, so I thought it might be fun.
And last night, I saw you play with the Jelvins.
That's what some people are calling it. It's me and the Melvins plus Adam Jones from Tool is another guitar player. So it's a good wall of sound, showing people how it's done.
And I haven't seen you perform in a long time, Jello, and just seeing you is amazing. Where did you come up with all the neat facial gestures and kind of miming and stuff? It's incredible. Was it inspired by the Screamers? Because what you were doing there, how's that progressed since the Dead Kennedys? Is there any new stuff you were throwing in there?
Well, I don't plan that stuff. It just happens, and I could probably do it a lot better if I actually rehearsed in front of the mirror as much as the singer for the Makers does. And that's not a diss on Michael. He's a good friend of mine, and he's a very, very good performer in his own way. And a lot of those, maybe if there was any big influence on the facial expressions, it predates the Screamers and goes back to a weekly TV show by a very, very good comedian by the name of Red Skelton. I think that was the secret influence I didn't realize for years. I really like performers who really work and put out and add something demented. And I thought, wait a minute, there's not just bits of Iggy sprinkled in all this. After all, I'm not very athletically coordinated, but you cross Iggy and Red Skelton only with somebody who can't do either very well, then it better be funny. So I guess that's what I do.
The yuppie SUV gestures were incredible. Like, were you mimicking us being on a cell phone there and driving at the same time?
And running over a bunch of kids.
Could you demonstrate that this quickly for the camera, Jello? This quickly?
Remember it. Let me see. Just,
the name of the song is?
Yuppie Cadillac. Like the modern grandpa car, the gas guzzler equivalent of the old giant sedan is the SUV. And most people who buy them specifically because they're expensive and eat a lot of gas. And aren't we cool that we're sending American troops to go get blown up in Iraq just so we can drive gigantic cars that are often too large to even fit down a European street?
And some of your gestures wasn't it what was that?
Oh, no, you do them first. I want to see you try to recreate them.
Well, it was something like... something like that. I mean, I can come nowhere close, Jello.
God damn. Well, I need room to move here for this. I think that the male driver was the first verse, so he was more... And then the second verse was more like the, what they call the soccer mom, or the, or what Frank Zappa calls the yuppie parents and their artifact children. Just driving going, they're great big for utility vehicle, can't control, talking on the phone. Just ran over some kids. Oh, well. I guess that was it.
That's amazing. All while singing, playing live on stage with the Jelvins in Seattle. That was amazing. And I saw that way from the back. Mine really translates to the back of the crowd.
Oh, that's interesting.
Jello Biafra, I was thinking about cool world leaders. I don't know what you think about Lennon.
I don't have real encyclopedic knowledge of Lennon, although...
I recently learned that he could play the theremin, that he was really into the theremin. What do you think about that? Vladimir Lenin learning the theremin.
Well, I think he would have been better off concentrating on the theremin than what happened with the Soviet Union. I mean, there are some good ideas in communism, but just like capitalism done in North America and the industrialized world, you take a few good things and then add some greed and some lust for power, and it can turn into something very oppressive. I mean, we don't, was it communism over there, or was it just a plain old military dictatorship and fascism?
How does
here, is it capitalism or is it feudalism?
How does Lennon compare to Jimmy Carter? Because is it true, Jello, you were saying that Jimmy Carter didn't want major labels to sign punk bands, that maybe Jimmy Carter wasn't that cool, that he actually talk to the record labels not to sign punk bands?
My vague memory of that is somebody mentioned it to me around 1980 or 79 when Carter was still president, claiming they had either gotten that information from Robert Fripp or read it in an interview with Robert Fripp. But I've never had a chance to ask Fripp if that was even true. I haven't met the man.
You contributed to Rolling Stone magazine, contributed to the top 500 records of all time, and I'm fascinated to know what were some of the records that you contributed or that you nominated for the best 500 records of all time, or what did you do for Rolling Stone?
I'm amazed they asked me about that. I mean, I also got a form letter from Yoko Ono asking me to write a reflection of John Lennon for a book she's compiling, so it'd be interesting to see if they print that one.
You should actually mention the Vancouver connection to that because the Pointed Sticks played on the Vancouver show the night John Lennon was shot.
Well, I don't think there would have been room for that. There wasn't even room for speculating, especially knowing Yoko was going to read it. You know, what would Charles Manson blame his crimes on if he only had Elvis to work with instead of the White Album?
For Rolling Stone, do you remember any of the top 500 that you nominated?
Me, Tender and Dripping Blood in Sharon Tate's house. I mean, who knows what would have happened? Manson with an Elvis do?
The top 500 records, Jello. I was still curious about this. Like, which ones did you nominate?
Well, what I was getting to is they sent a list of nominees, very few of which I thought deserved to be in the top 500 songs. It wasn't records, it was songs of all time. So I mostly did write-ins, knowing they probably wouldn't get in, but I had to work with my conscience here. I mean, the only non-major label punk rock song on the list was TV Party by Black Flag. No Minor Threat. No Dead Kennedys, none of that. No other Black Flag, anything. No Bad Brains. So I can't remember them in order. They had 50 nominees, and I think number 1 was Talk Talk by the Music Machine for me. Number 2, Down on the Street by the Stooges. Number 3, Rock and Roll McDonald's by Wesley Willis. I think Cop Killer by Body Count was in the top 5 or 10, and I ended it with Fuck the Police by NWA and then Go Fuck You by Hank Williams III. Partly a little statement to the owners of Rolling Stone, too.
Jello Biafra, winding up here, IRS Records, A&M. I've always been confused by this. You were released on faulty product, the Dead Kennedys were. What was your connection to IRS and A&M, and were you maybe going to end up on a major label in the very beginning there? Or were you on one? Did you sign anything?
We never signed with a major label. IRS was the pseudo-independent arm of A&M that was owned and operated by Miles Copeland, who managed the Police and some of the other people.
Ex-CIA guy, right?
No, his father was number 3 at the CIA through several presidents. That's why the Police got to play in Pinochet's Chile and all these other countries that other bands couldn't get into. And A&M distributed IRS, and they refused to distribute Dead Kennedys because Jerry Moss, the M in A&M, was a yachting buddy of Ted Kennedy and just couldn't do that. So the non-major label distribution arm of IRS was started called Faulty Products, which proved to be a very appropriate name for the thing. As soon as they owed a lot of us money, Miles folded the company. And luckily, people like DOA and the Farts and TSOL and 7 Seconds didn't come suing us because they were manufacturing and distributing Alternative Tentacles at the time, too. And what I learned from that was don't ever do an M&D deal with anybody again. Do it all yourself, even if it means starting a lot smaller. And then there were some, it's weird, at the beginning, well, after Fresh Fruit did well, British major labels were beating down our door, while the American branches of same major labels wanted nothing to do with us, although there was an occasional little feeler like, we'll give you all the artistic control you want if you just change your name. And then Ray was trying to push me into signing with Polydor in Europe, and I made up my mind that you never threaten to quit a band unless you mean it, or it has no meaning, and you damn well better not do it unless you mean it. And my feeling was if those guys went and signed with Polydor, I was going to quit on the spot. And then, I did let the word go back over to a British agent. Well, the next single's going to be called Too Drunk to Fuck. So see what Polydor thinks of that. And we never heard from Polydor again.
Jello Biafra, we're almost out of tape. Doot doot-a-loot-doo.